Good morning or good afternoon. It's already 10 past 2 here in South Africa. And I want to talk about equity provision, equal pay for work of equal value. And we did this study, or this was done by Lesiba Langa for his master's thesis or dissertation. And I was the study leader, and it was done through at a South African state-owned enterprise, SOE. So first of all, the purpose of the study is to determine how this state-owned enterprise in South Africa deploys equal pay for work of equal value. Now, it sounds quite simple, but it doesn't happen that way. Equal pay for work of equal value received much attention in recent years, and the important implications for employees and challenges to employers. The promotion of gender equality and equal pay for work of equal value are currently high on the demand in various countries, and we found this out through our literature review. Equal pay for work of equal value includes work that is the same, substantially the same, and work with the same value with other work. This was part of our Labour Employment Equity Act in 1998. After the 1994 elections, there were a tremendous number of acts that were promulgated in South Africa. Our Employment Act and our Labour Act is one of the most important acts that were changed after the 1994 elections. So our literature review, research environment, first of all, look at the ZYD company. We are not allowed to use the name, but the company has recently celebrated its 96th year of existence. It operates across South Africa. It's got just under 50,000 employees, comprising of permanent, temporary, and all of them are working in the 9 provinces. As the head office is here in Gauteng, in Sunninghill, that's in Johannesburg. The skills within the company range from technical, engineering, procurement, sourcing, logistics, strategic planning, production, human resources, finance, amongst other. The large size of the organization, and for South Africa, this is quite a large sized organization. The variety of the skills and many position profiles give rise to comparison in terms of similar jobs. Now, what we find is that for one job, you will find a different pay bracket. So the work carried out by an employee is observed to be the same or identical or interchangeable to the work of another employee within the same employer. However, the money differed. The work carried out is observed to be substantially the same, similar compared to that of another employee within the same employer, but the payment received was different. So the work that we looked at was basically our purpose of our study. And we looked at equity, first of all, promoting equal opportunities and fair treatment. This is amongst the different sexes, both male and female, but also we have what we call the affirmative action or the affirmative action regulation, implementing affirmative action intended to redress the ills within the employment experience by designated groups. Now, the designated groups in South Africa, although they are the majority group, they are still seen as the people who experienced ill employment in the previous compensation. In second place, we looked at eliminating unfair discrimination in the workplace. This is unfair discrimination against women. This is quite visible still in South Africa. There's a big gap in pay between women and men still here. Addressing to identify the pay gaps. Why do we have the pay gaps? Finding out why there are some pay gaps. We also looked at the annual employee remuneration report, and I'm going to show you some differences. The organizational report on pay differentials was also looked at. So when we look at the variables influencing pay equities or pay inequity, the first thing is the pay transparency. The companies do not really want to know or let people know what the pay of these individuals are. Obviously, they keep it to themselves. And the power to negotiate pay, mainly because of, and I said this in the previous one that I've discussed, because of our high unemployment rate. People are so glad that they actually find a job, that they do not want to negotiate any pay. They just want to accept whatever is afforded to them. So the third one was the reactions to pay equity or inequity, how we approach, what the companies approach them, racial and gender inequality, which is rife in South Africa, pay structures and pay scale levels per job or position that differs. Even if you're doing the same job, your pay scale still differs. And then the onus of proof, the people who receive the salary have to prove that their pay is different. Equal pay implementation powers. So we look at us and them, and reducing the output will have a difference on the equity, on their pay. What I want to show you is this is a table of what our payment at the moment look like, more or less in South Africa. And you will see that white males are still relevantly and unequally and paid more than any other professionals in the country. White males are even paid more than white female professionals. And then our black male professionals get close to half of what our white male professionals get. And our black females right at the bottom are being absolutely are in a very big manner discriminated against. So we looked at a quantitative approach, inductive theory, and interpretivist research philosophy. Our sample size was basically the ZYD company, and we collected all our data and analyzed our data from that. So our major findings were that the legislation alone cannot make equal pay for work of equal value possible in South Africa. They can put in how many laws and regulations. The labor laws or the labor courts can instruct employers to adjust individuals' pay in comparison to the comparator, but it still is not, there still are a lot of discrepancies. The labor court cannot take over the role of wage determination. This requires the company display a business will have to implement this provision and make sure that it doesn't happen. Collective bargaining provides an approach. So our labor unions are quite up to the standard in South Africa, and they are very much looking out for the support of equal pay based on the, or provided the base salary is the same for everyone. But yet the base salary differs in this ZYD company. The study confirms that implementing equal pay has a financial implication attached to it. Insignificant as it is, people are still being treated according to their pay. It is still a big motivation. So uncoordinated confirmations for promoting equal pay does exist. A lack of comprehensive approach to equal pay does encompasses the majority concerns. And we did it according to different themes. Therefore, we recommend that the results and comments of this research highlight the need for further areas of intervention and to get rid of this unequal pay amongst the equal jobs that is actually delivered. It should also not only be conducted in other state-owned enterprises, but also other organizations. Final conclusion, the removal of racial and gender discrimination in South Africa involves the participation of the employers, the trade union, and the government through legislation. We also found that affirmative action is one of our big problems, and the government should start looking at alternatives than only alternative affirmative action. So closing the pay gap is an almost lifelong action that requires unwavering commitment as environmental challenges escalate and constantly change in the workplace. Equal pay is crucial for all stakeholders. of special relevance to practitioners and policy developers. And that is my presentation.